Namo Namaha. Today we have this recorded video to bring to you some updates about the Course 1 certification process as well as some information about Course 2 and beyond. So, here is the overview of what I will be talking about today. Course in this order. First, about Course 2, the class, the study material, the WebEx for practice, and the exam plans, and so on. Then a quick overview of what we are tentatively planning for course 3 to 5. And then Mihir will update about the course 1 certificate. What are the next steps and when can you expect what and so on. Now, I have a note there which clearly says that some plans and dates might change as we progress based on the number of people attending, if we face any technical or manpower issues, and so on and so forth. For example, right now, as we record this video, unfortunately, the Sanskrit Club account has had some issues and we are trying to resolve it. And we had to accordingly change our communication and so on. Please also note that Course 2 also has about 5,100 registrants, which by no means is a small number. And this group includes people from diverse backgrounds, different age groups, different kinds of access to internet and so on and so forth. So we are trying our best to address to this diverse crowd. This particular recording of today's the instructions and so on might be a 15 or 20-minute video, but I hope you recognize and appreciate that to prepare this 15 or 20 minute of video and plans, probably about 15 to 20 volunteers would have put their 15 to 20 hours of thought and planning just to come up with plans, and it might take 200 or 300 hours of actual execution or even more to realize these plans. So, what I would request you all is to understand a few points. One is that while you might have multiple suggestions and so on, once you see these plans, we are open to hearing your suggestions and so on, but we might or might not be able to address each and every one of them. Likewise, we'll also appreciate your understanding that as we try out some of these, especially given the huge volume of numbers of people that we need to deal with, in some cases, if we find that the path that we have taken or the plan that we have made is running into some challenges, we may go back, review at our end, and replan accordingly. So we would appreciate your patience and cooperation in all of things. Having said that, I will move on to the next slide, which is about course 2. Regarding course 2, I have 4 slides. First is about the lecture days or the lecture schedule itself or the class schedule itself. Please note that I have used the letter S, capital S, to represent or to denote how many Subhashitams are being taught in each class. So, for example, on Monday, there was only one Subhashitam, whereas on Tuesday and Wednesday, there were two each. And going forward, also, typically it will be two Subhashitams per class or per lecture. Today, we are skipping so that we give you some time to catch up on the material as well as work on our end to resolve some of the technical issues that we have been facing. Friday, we will have a lecture or a class with quite likely three Subhashitams covered. Again, I say quite likely because as we go live, if we run into any issues and we end up going too much or end up spending too much time resolving those issues, we may cut it short to two Subhashitams and make it up later. So this is the kind of flexibility that I would like or I would request you all to get used to, as this is a course which involves multiple aspects to be looked into. Now, this as per this plan, you will see that in the coming weeks, there will be a break day on Wednesday in terms of the lectures. And typically there will be 4 lecture classes every week. Say for example, next week there will be day 5, day 6, day 7 and day 8, 10th, 11th, then skip 12th and then 13th and 14th. Again, these are tentative days. If we run into any issue on a particular day, we may need to rearrange it accordingly. The gap days, we are trying to start sending you Google form quizzes for self-evaluation, similar to the quizzes that were sent during course 1. But this time, of course, the material that will be covered will be based on the course 2 lectures. Details of those are being worked out. The first one we are hoping to send to you by Saturday, and that hopes to cover the material of day 1 to 4 together. After that, we are trying to or hoping to send these Google Form quizzes more frequently after every 2 lectures, possibly. And the schedule is here highlighted in blue, which days you can expect this. Once again, if you don't see that in the morning or by afternoon or so, there is no need to panic and say, I did not get this email and so on. It's quite likely that we may have had a technical issue in completing it and sending it to you. We will send it to you as and when things are ready. So what I mean to say is that just because it says that 12th of August at Google Form quiz has to come, you don't have to go into a panic mode if you don't see it even by evening. If we are aware whether it goes out or not, we will be aware, and then accordingly we will adjust those as needed. In terms of what I call as the practice, doubt, and tentative mock, I'll explain the tentative mock in the next slide. But the WebExes, we are hoping to have them on 3 Sundays as well as on Thursday of the last week of this month. Details of that is going to be covered in the next slide. And please notice that as of now, we are tentatively planning the exam for course 2 on 29th and 30th of August, which are Saturday and Sunday. So please keep this rough or tentative schedule in mind, with the understanding that here and there some dates might change as we go along. But the overall idea that is presented here is that every week there are 4 lectures, except for the last week where only 2 lectures, but 4 lectures per week. 8 Subhashitams will be covered per week. The last week covers only 4 Subhashitams, so it's a total of 8 into 3 plus 4, so 28 Subhashitams, almost as though in 1 month you are learning 28 Subhashitams, more or less like 1 Subhashitam per of August. Though, of course, they are coming in groups of 2 and all with to you with some days as gaps and for practice WebEx and so on and so forth. So that's the idea. Now, in each of these lectures, the Subhashitams are also there and grammar topics are also covered, as I said. So I say that 2S, 3S, and so on doesn't mean that Subhashitams are the only thing that are covered in that. Subhashitams are the main or the base material based on which the related grammar topic will also be taught. So now, uh, the second aspect of the course 2 is the material for practice that I want to cover. On the left hand side box, I've already written the lectures and sambhashanams. So lectures are day 1, day 2, day 3, the 1 hour, typically 6 o'clock live lectures. Sambhashanams are additional material that get sent, that get uploaded to YouTube and also get sent to you through emails. I have provided a screenshot of that playlist. So the first link that you see on the left hand side, which says user// Sanskrit IITR/videos, it's a generic link where every video that gets uploaded by the Sanskrit Lab IIT Roorkee, which are publicly available, will get added there. So any other programs which Sanskrit Club conducts also, those videos will be available there. The second link on the left hand side, which says the playlist, that is specific to course 2 related videos. So I've provided a screenshot of how it looked after the day 2 lecture. So you can say that there is a lecture 01 of course 2, that's on the top. And then there is a course 2 day 1 Sambhashana video related to that. Then there is lecture 2 of course 2, and then there is course 2 day 2 Sambhashana 1 as well as Sambhashana 2. So like that, in each day after the lecture, there will be multiple one or multiple Sambhashana videos also. They are small videos. You can see that they are typically around 2 minutes plus or minus a few seconds videos. They will be there after every lecture. In case you don't get the email also. So these information will be provided in the mail which comes to you after a particular lecture, which might come either the late night of that day, Indian Standard Time, or the next day morning. Even if you don't get that email, you can assume that if you go and check in these places, in the playlist or the one above that, the general videos link, you should be able to find out whatever is uploaded for course 2 is already there, as well as many times whatever is the next scheduled live session. Uh, YouTube live link will also be there, which will say when is that particular live scheduled to happen. For example, today there is no lecture, but there is a live link that is already created, which says 7th of August, 6 p.m. It will go live. So now on the right hand side box, I have mentioned about the other study material that are associated. So they are available through a Google Drive. Now, please note that as we speak, there is an issue with the Sanskrit IIT account. And since the email and the Google Drive are linked to the same account, the Google Drive is also not accessible right now. But I have some screenshots of how it looked just before the account had some issue. Once the account is back, you should be able to access this. The link to this Google Drive is just get sent to you by email, as well as they are put in the YouTube comments or the description section. So they are also more or less publicly available. And the particular link which says course 2, that is a main page. Inside that, as you can see on the screenshot here, under the course 2, there are subfolders that are created: day 01, day 02, day 03, and so on and so forth. So again, even if you don't get the email for a particular day, as long as you know that link for the course 2 main Google Drive link or the main Google Drive folder, from there you can always access the day 1, day 2, day 3 as and when they get created and they are made public. You can open them and check the material that are inside there. Now, inside these subfolders, for example, I've given a screenshot of the day 3 subfolder, which once the account is active again, you should be able to view. You will see multiple PDFs. So there are answers for the previous day's PDF, both study material 1 and study material 2 of day 2. They had questions in those PDFs. The answers to those questions are provided in the next day's PDF. Sometimes that answers are embedded inside the study material of day 3, for example. Sometimes they are kept as a separate PDF. Hopefully, as you open and go through each and every PDF, you'll be able to realize what is what. We don't expect to be giving instructions for each and every little thing. These are things that you should be able to understand. Finally, I've also put a point about periodical Google Form quizzes for self-practice will be sent. Again, these are for self-practice. We don't look at the marks for this. We don't evaluate this. We don't collect your score or anything of this kind. However, doing this regularly is quite important because quite likely some questions out of this or some uh, similar type of questions out of this will eventually come for your final exam also. So going through these Google Form quizzes and self-evaluating yourself is extremely important. Having said that, I'll move on to the next slide. Here I cover about how to address your doubts as well as the practice sessions through the WebExes. So the practice and the doubt clearance WebEx sessions are tentatively planned for August 9, 16, 23. Those are all Sundays. And by each of those WebExes, 4 lectures would have been covered each time, which means 8 Subhashitams would have been covered each times. The final WebEx for practice and doubt clearance will be on 27th of August, Thursday. Again, tentatively, that is a plan. And that will address the last two, day 13 and day 14 of lectures, the 4 Subhashitams that will be covered in it. Again, these are all tentative. The number of Subhashitams or the day and the date and all might change here and there, but overall, this is the plan. Now, in these doubt clearance as well as practice WebEx sessions, we are going to try and attempt a particular plan. Whether it will succeed or not, and so on and so forth, will have to be seen. which is instead of opening up the WebExes, all the different WebExes for all the registrants, the 5,100 or so registrants, we try to split them into three groups based on various criteria. And on an average, that means about 1,700 or 1,700 people per group. And each of these groups, we are going to suggest four different timings of similar WebExes. You don't need to attend multiple of those four. If you attend only one out of those four, that is good enough. It is the same kind of discussions or material that is going to be covered in that. In fact, if you attend only one, that will give chance for others to attend the other and ask their questions and so on. And please also, if you are splitting into different groups, please also attend that particular link or the particular WebEx that is relevant to your group. Even if you know the WebEx link for another group, please try to stick and attend only the WebEx of your group. The WebEx, if this plan works out, the WebEx timing for different groups might overlap. For example, at 7 a.m. in the morning, group 1 also might have a WebEx, group 2 also might have a WebEx, and group 3 also might have a WebEx. And the overlapping is intentional, or it does not affect because you are expected to attend your particular group's WebEx. And likewise, every group will get four WebExes. So overall, please understand that our volunteers are trying to run 12 WebExes in a single day. And so accordingly, your cooperation will be highly appreciated. Again, the plan is still in the making. Once it is finalized, the mail accordingly will come. If there is a change in plan, then accordingly, the mail will mention whatever is that plan on that day. We are hoping that the WebEx related mail will come at least by Saturday evening or so that on Sunday you can attend this. Um, the Telegram discussion group, the main Telegram discussion group will continue to open for a question window of 15 minutes at 7:30 a.m. IST as well as 7:30 p.m. IST. The setting is such that you can post only one set of questions, either as a text or as a recorded voice or video message, recorded, or you can live record it as and when the window opens. But only one set per person is allowed during one particular window, just so that others are also allowed to post and so on, and there are not too many questions. So compile all your questions into one set of questions and you can post it. And once again, the please be patient when the Shikshaka will answer it. It might not be immediately after you post the question, but those will be looked at and slowly it will be addressed. And please reduce direct messaging volunteers regarding these questions because it is not the efficient way of doing it. If you have a question, please post it in the group so that others also might benefit from your question. Okay. Now, additionally, there are 5 different Abhyasa groups that are created in Telegram, which are optional as of now. We have requested those who would like additional Abhyasa, please join. And it is split as age group wise so that there is a number of people in those groups are a little bit more in the range of what we can a little bit more easily deal with. So they are all in 3 digits. The main discussion group has already crossed 4,000, whereas each of these age-wise Abhyasa groups are in the 3 digit numbers, typically 300 or 400. And we also open it up for periodic Abhyasas. Typically, a topic is given and you need to speak on that topic, record an audio or live record an audio or a video and send it there. There are a lot of some suggestions would have come. Can the timing for that also be regularized? As of now, it might be a little random because of the convenience of the volunteers who have to deal with it, as well as you have to understand that Sambhashanam is something that you're supposed to do ad hoc. It is not as though morning a particular topic is given and the whole day is given to you to prepare. The idea is not for you to write an essay in writing and then read it out. More and more you can do it ad hoc even if there are mistakes. That is what is preferred. That is part of also reason that the amount of time, the prior notice that is given in these Abhyasa groups are not too much. But of course, there is the aspect of only those who are online and available at that time will be able to respond. So we will try to increase these windows more as and when we can, but it has to be a slowly evolving process. Here is the course 2 exam methodology and plan with a big bold statement there saying that this is a tentative plan. So I'll explain what we are trying or hoping to do, once again, there is still about 22 days or so left before we attempt this. So in that period, if while doing mock of this and so on, if we get a feel that there are some practical difficulties to it, we might change our plan also. But as of now, this is what we're looking at. We are hoping to have 8 sessions across Saturday and Sunday, which is the 29th and 30th of August. Tentatively, I've mentioned the timings in the first slide, but the final timings might change here and there a little bit. Again, you need to attend only one. One registrant need to attend only one of these WebEx sessions. Please attend on time if this is the plan. The first for 5 minutes will give the instructions of how you're going to do this exam and so on and so forth. And in the WebEx, a Google link to choose your answers will be given in the WebEx, not prior, right? So the link will be different in every WebEx. So it will be given in the WebEx session. And the exam we're hoping is for about 20 marks, about 20 questions. Again, these are finer details which might change. This is just a sample that I'm giving here. Now, the important aspect here is that the question will be orally read out during the WebEx, and you have to choose the answer from the multiple choice answers in the Google form, which most likely you will also will need to enter a registration ID or your email ID of registration and so on very carefully. So that is the first 5 minutes all about to make sure that you have entered your information and data appropriately and correctly. And after that, once the actual exam starts, each of these multiple choice questions or multiple choice answers for which the question will be read out to you through audio. Well, all the participants are muted. Only the Shikshakar or the examination conductor will read out these questions. Approximately 1.5 minutes per question. So 20 questions should take about 30 minutes to answer. Plus a quick repeat of these questions in half a minute each. If you want to double check your answers will be done. That will take approximately about 10 minutes. So far we are talking about 45 minutes. And at the end of the 45 minutes, we'll probably give another 1 or 2 minutes for people to just be comfortable with the submit button and so on and submit. Once you submit or after that 45-minute plus another 2 minutes or so is over, the form will be turned off, as in no more responses are accepted. It will be turned off. So this is a little bit of process where you have to be pretty well thorough with the process, as well as you need to need to know which button to click at that point and so on. And we also understand that there is a diverse group of crowd, including some people who might not be as comfortable with internet and online exams and so on as others. So because of that, we are also trying to do these mock maybe 4 or 5 questions where we go into a mock exam mode at the end of your practice and doubt clearance WebEx sessions that are planned to happen on 9, 16, 23rd, 27th of August. So that is another reason why your presence in those WebEx is also extremely important, because you also get to do these mock exams of 4 or 5 questions live during those sessions, and you will be able to figure out how comfortable you are with those. Again, as I said, uh, we will finalize this plan only after making sure that people are being comfortable with this mode and so on and so forth. But eventually, once it's finalized, in the multiple WebEx sessions that are going to happen on the 29th and the 30th of August, please attend only one of these sessions unless there is a really valid reason. For example, from the same WebEx ID, multiple registrants from the same family are taking these exam, or there has been a technical issue, or something like that, which is a valid reason, which will have to be dealt with on a case-to-case basis. Okay. Having said that, I will not spend too much time on this slide, but I'll just quickly run through it, which are possible plans of course 3 to 5 and so on. So course 2 exam, if all goes well, out of the 20 marks, you need to score at least a minimum of 7 to clear it. And then we are hoping to give a couple of days break on Monday and Tuesday of August 31st and September. Okay, there is a typing mistake here. August 31st and September 1st are rest days, and course 3 will tentatively start from Wednesday 2nd of September. And course 3, course 4, course 5 also likely to have this kind of 20 mark kind of an exam. The exact details, again, as I said, as we go along, if we need to change our strategy here and there, we might change, but otherwise we are looking at similar kind of exams for those courses also, which all will add up to about 80 marks. Additional 20 marks, we are trying to work out some methodology by which we can also assess your participation in terms of Sambhashanam and activities or presenting some skits and so on and so forth. But this will be spread across course 2 to course 5. So we are probably talking about 3 or 4 months of time spread across those. And in that time, we will try to evolve some methodologies. It might be through Telegram groups or separate WebEx sessions and so on and so forth. We have to work out the details. But please start getting involved through Sambhashanam. Please start posting your Sambhashanam when Telegram groups open for Abhyasa and so on and so forth. That process will slowly evolve. In the final grade, we are hoping to be out of the 100 marks from all of these. Uh, Let me almost end with this slide. Again, repeating that all these plans that we just mentioned, many of them are tentative, some of them are fixed, and we'll go ahead and do that, but many of them are tentative. So, in some sense, your feedback is important, but at the same time, every little thing, the feedback might not be able to be addressed, and so on and so forth. And sending this feedback individually through emails and so on becomes difficult because we have to look at so many of them. So here is a suggestion that some of these suggestions, any major suggestions, again, please note that going into nitty-gritty details of why don't you do it this way, why don't you do it that way, we don't claim that we have the best method of doing all of these things. But at the same time, we have limited resources and so on and so forth. So once we have taken a path and once we are reasonably comfortable with that path, we have to stick to that path, even if uh, many others might feel that there is a better path to take. So having said that, any major suggestions or any major potential challenges that you might feel in advance because of these plans, we request you to post it during one of these question windows that are there in the Telegram. I understand that one person can only post one. So, but because we're opening it now daily twice, we're hoping that together with your questions also, any major suggestions, again, don't try to make it too elaborate. If you can just stick to the point and just be brief and say what is the point that you want to convey. If you post it there, it will help in the sense that if multiple people have the same suggestion, since at least one person has posted in the Telegram group, then all the others don't have to keep emailing us or posting their comments on YouTube videos and so on and so forth, right? So that way it helps us to compile, or others also can understand that, oh, the suggestion has already been given by somebody. And to the extent possible, the volunteers will try to follow up on those suggestions and address it if it is workable, right? Uh, and accordingly, if there is a change in plans and so on, we will try to inform you, communicate through emails and telegrams and so on and so forth. Please note that the emails related to the course 2 related information comes to you only those people who are registered for course 2. In the 2 address, you will see SS course 2 at iitr.ac.in and so on. So that shows that it is only sent to the distribution list of course 2 registrants. With that said, I will now hand it over to Mihir to update you about the course 1 certificate plans.
धन्यवाद अरुण महोदय for this presentation. Meanwhile, we record this video. There is one update. The Sanskrit Lab G Suite account is again active, and you might receive the email, and you might be able to access the Google Drive link from the email also. Now, regarding the certificates, let me just present my screen. So, regarding the name confirmation for the certificates, we have tuned in the our portal, and the portal should work fine now. If you are facing any issue opening it, then we suggest that either you try it in the incognito mode, or you change the browser, or you try sometime later, or you can just try it from a different device. Like most of the time it works fine with phone, and sometimes it works fine with laptop or PC. So that's with the portal. But we admit that there was an issue with the website. So we extend the deadline to submit your name, like to confirm your name, which we are going to print in the certificate. So the new deadline is tomorrow midnight. That is Friday 11:59 p.m. That will be the midnight of 7th August 2020. So please click on that link before 11:59 p.m. and confirm your name in the certificate. This whole process of confirming name on the certificates is only for those who are particular about their name on the certificates. Like we know that you want your official name on the certificates. That's why we have designed this portal so that you can confirm your name. But let me let us tell you one thing, that this is the last this will be the last of its kind. Please be very careful while you enter your name and email address in the future exams or any future Google Forms, because the moment you enter the wrong email address, you are not going to get updates from that moment onward. And whenever you enter the incorrect name or name with the abbreviation, it takes like lot of time to edit in our database on your request. And to be honest, we are not going to cater any request regarding the name addition, editing the name or changing the email address in future. Now, regarding providing the certificates, we might not be able to provide you certificate before 10 August due to this issue with the name confirmation portal. So we will try to send you all the certificates by 12th August. So please be patient and wait for our emails. That's all from my side.
अस्तु, धन्यवादाः, शुभदिनं च.